Hi everyone, let's take a look into what a regular day on Hummingbird looks like. It all starts with logging in to the unique URL to your facility. Here, you'll be able to enter your username and password to your cloud-based account. Whether you're on a desktop or a tablet, you can access Hummingbird virtually anywhere with Wi-Fi. Once you log in, you'll be taken directly to your dashboard. This gives you a quick rundown of what's going on at your facility. You can customize this here to show an occupancy breakdown or tenants in different delinquency stages. Over here to the left, you'll see a few icons dedicated to making your job easier as the day goes by. The magnifying glass allows you to do a search for tenants, leads, or spaces. The next icon is your quick actions. Here you can quickly capture a lead or a move-in, take a payment, schedule a move-out, sell merchandise or service fees, and do your close of day. Next up is your task generator. It allows you to create tasks or reminders for you and other team members at your facility. We've designed this to be as fast and easy as possible to keep up with the demands of your office. Hummingbird gives you the ability to interact with your tenants and new leads in real time. That can be done here in our communication center. You can see what messages have been left and directly reply back. Whether it's current tenants or someone interested in renting, all communications can be found here. It's designed to keep you in the loop about delinquency reminders, payments being made, or questions tenants or leads may have concerning your facility. Here within our task center, you have the ability to prioritize your day-to-day tasks. You can filter specific tasks here so that they can all be completed in one shot, and the numbers hovering over each different section will let you know once you're done with the list. If you need to set up reminders for yourself or your team, you can add additional tasks here within the Task Center. You can assign them to yourself or maybe others in the event that you weren't able to get to them today. This will cycle them through to the next day and populate here on this list. The Task Center keeps all vital information for move-ins and leads. If a future tenant did not finish the rental process, the information will populate into the Leads or Pending Move-ins tab. From here, you can go to their move-in and continue from where they left off. Here at Hummingbird, we understand that capturing leads and moving them in is an essential part of everyday business, so we made it easy for you. Here in the leads, it'll entail any active leads or reservations for your facility. Let's go ahead and move a lead in. We see here that they want to rent ASAP and they're looking for a parking space. So let's go ahead and move them in. Here, we'll be able to update any information that we may have received from the future tenant, along with adding any additional marketing information. After this is filled out to your liking, we'll go ahead and select a space. Since we know the tenant is looking for a parking space, we can actually filter for that here. We see that there's quite a few available and we'll go ahead and click the first one. The next page here is the leasing details. We can make adjustments like their move-in date, base rent, or add any additional discounts or promotions. We also have the ability to set up auto pay. Next, we're taken to the lease details. Here we can modify the move-in date, change their billing date, base rent, add any promotions, or set the day for their auto pay to occur. Here we can quickly add a promotion from the drop-down list, and we'll see here to the right that it is now applied. Next up is the leasing information. Here we'll want to make sure we input all information necessary for this tenant. This includes their email, phone number, address, gate code, driver's license, and questions regarding renting as a business and alternate contact. All alternate contact information can be added here, and we can also designate what type of user this is. Next up, we have questions about active military, and when you select yes, it'll have a drop-down menu of all federally required information necessary. We also have the ability to select any items that they may be storing in this unit, as well as any vehicle information. After this is all filled out, we can go ahead and hit next. Here is our services page. You can select any coverages for your facility or allow a tenant to select their own coverage. Here, they'll have to enter their month and year of expiration of their current policy. Here, you'll be able to add any merchandise as well as any other fees that may come with renting the unit. For example, parking units may come with a maintenance fee of $12. Let's proceed to payments. Here on the payments page, we'll see a total breakdown due for the tenant. We can add additional months of rent as well. Here's a good time to also offer auto pay, and that can be done here by simply clicking this button. If the tenant decides they don't want to set up auto pay, this can easily be unclicked and they can proceed with a one-time payment. In our payment information, we do allow for tenants to make a partial payment towards their invoice. If they decide to pay the whole thing, this can be unclicked and they will pay the whole balance due on their account. In this case, we'll go ahead and select cash, and it will pre-fill with the amount the tenant's going to pay as well as the reference name or name of the tenant. When selecting cash, it'll have the total balance due for the tenant as well as their name and any given notes that we'd like to give. When selecting cash, we'll see that the amount is entered for us as well as the name of the tenant. In the event the tenant overpays, we can edit this amount and the change due will appear here to the right. The final step would be to sign any lease agreements or potential addendums that came with this rental. Here, we'll go ahead and sign on this device. Once the documents have been signed, you'll see this green message here, and the last step will be to finalize. Here on the last page, we'll see a success message about the lease being completed. We can send a receipt to the tenant, finish and close, or view the tenant profile. Let's go ahead and see. Here we have the tenant profile. We see that they don't currently have a balance on their account, they are current, as well as their space number and any communications that may have been sent to the tenant. Let's go ahead and add a second space to this tenant profile. First, we'll add space. Here you'll be taken to a brand new move-in, and any information that is currently on the tenant profile will be filled out for you. Next, we can select space. Here, you can filter by the size or features and amenities that are important to your tenant, and in this case, we'll select this 10 by 18. To the left, you'll see any lease details. This includes the day that they'll move in, any discounts or promotions, or the day they'd like auto pay to run if they decide to add it to their account. Here to the right, you'll see the new unit that's assigned to this tenant, as well as a breakdown of their costs for adding it. Next, let's proceed with the move-in. Here, again, we'll see the lease information. This is the best time to verify that all the information is current and up to date. You can also make any changes, including an alternate contact, if this person joined the military, any protected property, or vehicle information. Here in services, you have a few options, and the first is coverage. The tenant can decide to choose coverage with a facility or provide their own with an expiration date. In this case, we'll select the facility coverage and any merchandise that the tenant may need. We can include a small box by entering the quantity and selecting add. As we add these merchandise items, you'll see it'll be added to their cart to the right. Let's proceed to payments. Here to the left, you'll see another breakdown of all the costs, and you also have the ability to add additional months of rent. If this person wanted to prepay for another month, you'll see those charges broken down as well, and these typically include insurance, tax, rent, and any reoccurring fees. Under payment information, you have the ability to take a partial payment, and you can select the method of payment you'll be accepting today. If the tenant requires change, you can add the amount tendered here. And to the right, Hummingbird will let you know the change due for this tenant. Now, let's process payment. Here, we're on the last step of finalizing the lease. The documents are ready for signature, and we have a move-in checklist to ensure all required information is being captured. Once the tenant is ready, these documents can be sent for signing in either an email or a text message. Once the tenant has signed all the documents, you'll get this green check mark and you can finalize the move-in. Here, you can print and download, send the receipt, or view the tenant profile. And now you'll see that both spaces are here on the tenant profile. If a tenant decides they want to transfer out of their unit into another one, that's pretty easy. The first step is to select these 3 vertical dots and go to transfer. Here, you can provide a reason for the transfer, this one being the unit is too far away, and any information pertaining to the transfer out and the transfer in. We're going to select another unit of the same size, and to the right, you can fill out any billing information, this being when they get billed, any promos or discounts, or coverage that needs to be added. If we scroll down, you'll see the transfer out balance and the transfer in balance. Since we're changing to a unit of the same price and size, the transfer balance is set to 0. Now we can take payment. Just like all other move-ins, you'll have a breakdown of any costs associated with the transfer, and you can input any payment information if necessary. Because we know that our transfer balance is set to 0, we can confirm transfer, and now confirm. Next, you'll need to have another lease agreement signed for the transfer, and this can be sent for signing. Once that's been signed, you can finalize your transfer. And again, you'll be provided with the receipt that you can print and download, send to the tenant, or you can finish and close. Now you can see their brand new unit is listed here in their tenant profile. Although no one looks forward to it, move-outs do happen, and that can also be done from the tenant profile. The first step is to select the 3 vertical dots and come here to move out. Here you can select the date for the move out and then proceed to next. Here you have the ability to schedule an inspection for a later date, or you can select that the space is clean and ready for move-in. If the space is clean and ready for a new move-in, you can review the move-out statement. Here in the move-out statement, depending on your corporate settings, you have the ability to refund a tenant for any time that they didn't stay in their unit. After the refund is processed, you'll see that that screen went away and you can now close the lease. If you have a scheduled inspection, you'll see that the space cannot yet be moved into inventory. Here in the move-out statement, you can see if the tenant was enrolled in AutoPay and unenroll them, or add any last additional notes to the tenant's profile. If no notes are needed, you can continue with closing the lease, and after that, move the space back into inventory. After that, you'll see any historical data regarding a closed lease for this tenant, and you're all set.